Hi, everybody. All right, so update time. In case you guys haven't watched my most recent Facebook Live, I have pretty much announced that in order for me to challenge myself to experiencing more intimacy with myself, with other people, creating more moments of vulnerability. And because by doing that, in order for me to know how to receive love and receive being cherished, it really is a direct association with how well I receive abundance and pretty much everything that I desire in life. So by doing that, what I've committed to doing was that for the next 10 weeks, I will be going on 20 dates with men and creating moments of intimacy and vulnerability together. And last night I had my first date. Um, so first of all, I was totally nervous because it's been a while since I've gone on a date. It's literally been a while. And this was a guy that I've never met before. He was actually the son of someone who is in my leadership training that I'm a part of right now. So we connected. I drove for like 2 hours to San Diego. It was so beautiful. I was like absolutely in love with being on the beach. So excited, first of all. Okay, anyways, I want to let you guys know what happened. My intention going into the date was, and I always plan ahead, right? I plan ahead on exactly like how I will create this intimacy, create this vulnerability with my date for that day. And then so my intention going in was that I was challenging myself to just be brave enough to verbally express and articulate what my needs and my wants are when it comes to sexual intimacy and physical intimacy, because that's something that I literally never done in the past. It didn't matter if I was seeing a guy, it didn't matter like that we were dating. I literally never had the courage to be bold enough, to be powerful enough, to own my body enough for me to speak up and say like, hey, that's what I want and that's what I need when it comes to like sex or physical pleasure. And that was a huge stretch for me. So I went into the day and I actually did a journaling of what my experience was like and what I learned out of that experience. So first of all, before I get into the juicy detail of the day, I just caught myself all of the old ways of being that haven't served me up until this point was just basically surfacing all over the place. The people-pleasing tendency, the insecurities, the lack of self-confidence, like all of those were coming up so strongly right before I met up with the date. Like I caught myself literally spending like 2 hours during my drive down to San Diego from like LA area. During that entire 2 hours, I caught myself literally having a debate if I was gonna keep my contacts on or do I just show up with my glasses, because I realized that wearing contacts is like a security blanket that I feel that makes me feel more beautiful. Like I guess somehow I have made this association that wearing glasses makes me less pretty. So like I literally spent the whole drive from LA to San Diego, that 2 hours, just debating like, should I take it off? Should I keep it on? Should I like it was insane. But I end up deciding to just wear my glasses, right? Because my commitment was creating authenticity, creating vulnerability, rawness, intimacy. So it just didn't make sense if I want to put on that security blanket and show up in my context. I'm not saying like, okay, I'm not going into that, but that's basically my thought process that showed up for me. And then right before I met up with this guy, I caught myself just like spending so much time checking the mirror. Do I look good? Is my hair fine? Like, is my makeup okay? And like throughout that entire process, I was just feeling like, oh my gosh, like Miko, you're being so inauthentic. Like it's not about your looks, but it's so automatic. Like it's so ingrained into my ways of being up until this point. But I was just so aware of it. I was just witnessing everything that was going down. So I showed up, and then he was amazing. He was great. But then also I caught myself like the judgmental, the high standards, the high expectations, all of those came up in my mind. And I was just literally like just scanning down this guy. Like, you know, he's not someone that in the past I normally like probably would, you know, date or anything like that. But like it was just so insane to see like how judgmental I was being, and just like kind of you know, all these insane expectations that I had in mind, like in the past when I go on a date. Like, is he cute, is he fit, is he dressed nice, like all of those standards. And I'm sure you guys can relate to this, right? Like really think about when you go on a date, when you meet up with someone, like all of the judgment just comes up in you automatically. So I really like I stayed committed to like being vulnerable, being intimate with this person, and we just had an amazing conversation like throughout the whole time. Olga. Yeah. And then and we were on the beach, beautiful beach, Pacific Beach in San Diego. And I just caught myself being a people pleaser again. Like there were so many moments where I wanted to speak up, I wanted to say something, but somehow I just kept listening. Like I was listening to everything that he had to say. And I was just like, why is it so difficult for me to just be me? Like I want to let my full light and my personality to shine through. But like it was just such an amazing observation. And then there were just brief moments, like really brief moments where I totally, when my mind stopped thinking, when the judgment stopped, and when all of the expectations stopped for like that brief moment, and I looked him right in the eyes. Like it was so beautiful. It felt like a magical moment, and I felt like we connected on such a deep, soulful level. And just looking into people's eyes, like we don't do that nowadays. And it was just like, oh my gosh, it felt like fireworks were going off in my body, even though like this guy is typically like, you know, not, I wouldn't say like he's my type, but what's really my type, right? Like my type used to be in the past like this superficial, ingenuine like standards of like looking like the Ken doll, Barbie, right? Prince Charming, right? So like it was just so funny, and it was just so amazing to be able to connect with him when all of my judgments kind of like dropped for a second. And just felt like he's such a beautiful soul. Like I connected with him on that soulful level. And then we kept going, and it really took me literally towards the end of the date to really speak up and share with him what I intended of sharing. So we finally got to that part, and I felt so uncomfortable. I literally couldn't speak. I literally couldn't say what I wanted to say about like my needs when it comes to like sex or physical pleasure. But I was able to finally say something. But even then, we didn't get to dive deep enough into the juicy details. Like I was still really holding back. I was basically just, you know, talking about the more easy to share kind of details. But after I did it, it really just felt like it was not a big deal at all. But what came to my awareness was like, why, first of all, like, why do I feel so resistant when it comes to voicing my needs, voicing my desire? It's because, I mean, that's my personality, that's my nature. Like what my biggest strength is also my biggest weakness at the same time. My biggest strength is that I am such a supporter. Like I'm so great at being there for other people. I'm just a great listener. And that the weakness of that is that I tend to put others' needs above mine. So because that's my way of conditioning for so long, so like it was really difficult for me to like stand in my power and be like, this is what I want, this is what I need, right? And then the second piece was like, why specifically around like my body, my sensuality, my sexuality? Like why was that so difficult? It's that First of all, I remember a moment in time as growing up that I felt so much shame in my body was during my teenage years. I remember during puberty, like we as girls, like well, at least true for me, I wanted to look pretty. I wanted to play with makeup. I wanted to wear skirts, mini skirts. And I remember like the first time I wore a mini skirt, I guess my mom was just not used to seeing that as like Asian culture. I just remember one time she literally had a comment that said to me like, "What are you doing? Are you trying to be a prostitute?" And in that moment, I still remember how much that hurt me and how much shame I felt just because I wanted to look cute. So I think in that moment, I just had this like yucky feeling, I guess, about my body, about being sexy, about embracing my feminine essence, embracing my sensuality. And it wasn't just my mom too, like it's the society as a whole. Society as a whole has conditioned us to shame sex, to shame physical intimacy, to make it like a taboo. But that sexual intimacy, like physical intimacy, is one of the most powerful creative forces out there. Like that, literally, to have sex, to have physical intimacy is how you create another human being. And you really gotta dive deeper to see why society has conditioned people to shame sex. It's because on a bigger scale, it is to diminish our creative powers, right? When we don't embrace our sexual powers, we are also not embracing our creative powers. So that really was like a aha moment for me when I was journaling. But then like after I was able to do all of that with my date, like I just felt so empowered, even though I wasn't like fully there yet. There's still a long way for me to go with being vulnerable and intimate, but like just by taking that little step, I felt good in my body, and I just felt sexy. I feel like I can embrace my body. And it's so funny how like you start to become a magnet to romantic partners or to men or to whatever, like, because literally all day today I spent today has been one of my most stressful, most hectic, most overwhelming day I've ever had, because so much was happening. And around 6:30 or something, I was in the middle of doing laundry, but I just went out to go for a drive, to go to Target to get groceries. And I was just a mess. Like literally, I didn't touch up my makeup, I didn't do anything, I didn't touch up my hair. And I went outside, and after I went shopping in Target, this guy literally like came up to my window at my car and literally basically got my number. And because I'm in this commitment, right, going on dates with men, I said yes, even though he was totally not my type. But it's just so funny how like doors will start to open. You will attract men, you will attract love just by taking a stand and moving like one step closer towards like embracing you, embracing your body, embracing your sensuality. And it's an energy that you convey. It's an energy that you really send across to people. And I'm sure I had a massive confidence boost just by being able to speak up and share with this guy about my needs and my desires. So that was only date number 1. Let me see what else that I missed that I didn't share with you guys. Yeah, I had a lot of fun. And I guess another thing would be like, the same way that I had all these insane expectations and standard for my date was just a mere reflection of how much I have these insane expectations for myself as well, like these superficial expectations. And when we have all these layers and layers of like superficial expectations and standards, like he needs to look this way, he needs to sound this way, he needs to walk like this, he needs to dress like this, like all of these expectations, when we have all these layers in front of us, it's almost impossible for you to connect with the other person on a deep spiritual, soulful way, like to the core of the essence. And when I was able to drop those for a second, that's when I really felt the fireworks. Like I felt the spark. and it's powerful. And this is something that we get to do with ourselves too, with the relationship with ourselves. Like, how can we let go of all of those insane expectations that we have on us, and how can we get to know the intimate parts of who we are, get to know the core essence. So it's a beautiful journey, and I'm so excited. So date number 1 completed, and I have 3 dates booked moving forward. So I'll keep you guys updated, see what's continue to show up. Let me see. Olga, I have prejudgment somehow. It's funny, I started dating too. Yeah, guys, highly encourage you guys to also stretch yourself, and whatever resonated with you, let me know in the comment below. And if you have any ideas or any questions, please drop it down. I will go back and connect with each and every single one of you. Alright guys, I'm sending so much love from my heart to you. I will see you Monday. Bye.